Hi everyone, so I wanted to come on and share my journey on how I got re-motivated after totally falling off the bandwagon for 3 years and not doing anything and letting myself completely go. So up until that point, so this was 11 years ago, and up until that point I'd been fairly active. I was a black belt in Taekwondo, I did some swimming, and I did some walking, but not much walking, but it was mostly Taekwondo and swimming, which I enjoyed. But I'd got two young kids, my husband was working away at the time, and it was very difficult to keep motivated, especially when you've got a child that didn't sleep and cried most of the time, and it was really difficult to get motivated and even keep awake during the day. But I'd got to a point where I had put on weight. I was living in one pair of leggings and a stretchy top, basically. And yeah, it was a bit dire. Walking to the end of the road was becoming problematic, and I was feeling like I was out of breath. I wasn't hugely overweight. To look at me, you wouldn't have thought, oh, she's hugely overweight. But I noticed a difference, and my clothes could see the difference. So my size 12 jeans that I'd always fit in weren't fitting anymore. In fact, I'd gone up to a size 14 and they were getting a bit snug. So yeah, I knew I had to do something. So basically I went to a New Year's Eve party in the said leggings and the said top. And at this New Year's Eve party, there was my friend's mum. Now, I've known my friend since I was 4 years old, so a lot of years. I'm 47 now. I was about 35, 36 at that point. And she just looked at me and she just said, "You put on a lot of weight." And I thought, yeah, I knew she was telling me because I'd always been quite fit. I knew what she was telling me was right. I knew that. I'd sort of given into the fact up until this point, up until when I started feeling really bad. I'd given into the fact that, well, I was coming up to 40 in maybe 5 years. My dad, he was a big man, and I'd sort of given that, well, that's what's just going to happen naturally. But I really didn't want it. I really didn't want that. My friend was there, and she said she was doing a half marathon and would have liked to join her. Well, basically, yeah, I would have liked to have joined her, but I'd never run before in my life. But I said, yeah, okay, this could be the challenge I need. Yeah, let's do it. So the next day, I got on my leggings and I found a t-shirt. I'd got no running bra, I'd got no running shoes, so I went out in a normal pair of trainers, and I went to my local park and I stood at the top gate and I thought, right, I'm going to run round all the park. Didn't even get that far. I ran to the first pond, which was about 20 yards, if that, in front of me. I could see it from where I was. I got there and I was completely out of breath, And I thought, this is bad. This is bad. I mean, how am I going to run a half marathon if I can't run to the first pond here? So I went home and I thought, this is really bad and I need to do something. So I signed up for the half marathon. Then I spent the next about an hour or two looking at YouTube to see if I could find the last person coming across the 7 mile mark. Because I thought, if I get 7 miles, then I'm more than halfway there. So if I get 7 miles, then I know I've got to continue, because you can't stop at that point. So I looked, and the last person coming across the line was the minion. Like, he was a man dressed as a minion. And I thought, oh well, surely I can beat the minion. Now, I thought that then, but having done lots and lots and lots of marathons since then, I know now I can't beat the minion. The minions are fast, really fast. I set out running. So when I say running, I started really slow. So I did, like, I knew I could run about 20 yards and then feel really rubbish. So I thought, I'll jog 20 yards and then I'll walk. And then when I get my breath back, I'll jog again. I had no real plan in mind, but I knew I had to start somewhere. So I started jogging, walking, jogging, walking. And this went on for a number of weeks. But I knew I could feel myself getting a little bit further each time. All right, I'm running a bit further than I did last time. So I built it up. It's all about small steps. And then I got a marathon plan. So I got a book, a Nell McAndrew book. Brilliant book. And there's it's not done on miles, it's done on time. So in that book, it was a starter, a beginner half marathon plan. So I used this as a guide. I didn't follow it to the letter, I just used it as a guide because all I wanted to do was finish this half marathon. My friend asked me to go on a week's holiday to Benidorm. So we went on a week's holiday to Benidorm. No training was involved, a lot of drinking was involved, eating rubbish and kebabs was definitely involved. So we went to Benidorm, but while I was in Benidorm, I started thinking, how am I going to actually run this and get to the end? So I had all them negative thoughts, but then I thought, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to really try my best. So the day of the marathon comes. I'd done all the things the day before. I'd not had a drink up until for that whole week. I'd had pasta the night before because that's what it told you in all the books to have pasta. So I had pasta, I had an early night, and then the day of the marathon came, half marathon, and it was in Sheffield because I'm from Sheffield in England. And when we got to this, it was called Don Valley Stadium, massive stadium, and all these thousands of runners. And I just thought, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How? So I was stood in the toilet queue, like you do, and I said to this woman, oh, I don't know whether I can do this. And she says, why do you think you can't do it? And I said, I've never run a half marathon before. And she went, well, she says, you can do it. And she says, you just go and look at the mile markers. So tick them off as you go along. Mile 1 done. Right, great, I've got to mile 1. Mile 2, brilliant. That means I've only got 11 miles left. And she put this seed in my head. And I think that one conversation really made me think, yeah, I can do this. But by 9 o'clock when we set off, it was one of the hottest days that we'd had. So we were getting into the late 20s heat-wise. It was an April day, and it was so hot, and I thought, oh no, this is just not, it's just not going my way. Anyway, we ran, and I did everything that this lady had told me to do. I'd taken the advice off my brother to keep well, watered and just keep going. Halfway round, my friends were there and they got all energy drinks for me and they were cheering me on, which pushed me on even further to think, yes, I've got to do this, because I'd also signed up to do it for charity. So I ran, and it was really hot, and there were people, actually, they were real runners, like that had passed out. There was the ambulances there, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm overtaking all these people who are actual runners, who should be, a whiz at all this stuff. So I was amazed that I'd even got, when I got to mile 8, I was like, right, okay, we can do this now. So I ran the rest of the way, and as we come into Don Valley Stadium, which is the worst bit because you have to run round it twice, so you think you've finished but you've not. I ran round it, I got to the end, I got my medal, and you know what? It changed my whole mindset. I didn't think I'm never going to do that again. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people think I'm never going to do that again. But I never wanted to go back to square one. And I believe that this is what a lot of people do. They start things. So you start things and you're all up for it and you're going to go for it like I did on the marathon. You're going to go for it. You're going to put in all this training, and then you're going to go back to square one where you were when you started. That has never been an option for me. I've always, and I know people really struggle with that, but I really think, and I'm not always massively motivated. I don't jump out of bed in the morning and think, yay, I'm gonna do my shred today. I don't think that. I get on my shred. I've got an online shred live, and I have to be up at 6:45 every morning to do 15 minutes in the morning, live online, which I have done since lockdown. But I don't get up and think, yeah, I'm going to do that. I lay in bed with a cup of tea thinking, oh God, I've got to get up in 15 minutes. Of course I do, because I am human. But you know what? I know now, is when I've done that exercise makes you feel so incredibly good. If it's something that makes you feel proud, and I would ask anyone, do you feel proud when you've been sat on the settee in takeaways or drinking loads of lager? Do you feel proud of yourself for doing that? And I'd say no, because I never felt proud of myself for doing that. In fact, I felt at one of my lowest points at that point. I felt rubbish. I'd got no confidence. All my confidence had gone. So at that point, I had literally no confidence because I felt rubbish about myself. I felt rubbish in my clothes. I felt rubbish with what I was doing with my life. I was sat on the sofa doing nothing, just making excuses basically. And I've got to say that since discovering how great exercise can really make you feel again, I'll never ever go back to square one. And my channel and this channel is all about helping women feel empowered and feeling good about themselves with what they look like, looking in the mirror. You know, we can't all be perfect. I think that there's a lot of pressure on women, especially in the 40s, to look amazing, you know, wrinkle free. Well, I'm not going down that journey. I'm going with what exercise does to me. And if I feel good in myself, then I don't care if I've got a few wrinkles on my face. I'll go with that. As long as I feel good in myself. And at the minute, at 47, perimenopause, I feel quite good with myself. If I could give any lady a top tip who's maybe in that position where they're on the sofa at the minute, they're finding it difficult to get motivated, just take them first steps. Maybe give yourself an event or a goal to work towards, even if it's a couch to 5k or something small, or maybe just to get round the block, jog round the block and be able to do it without stopping. It doesn't have to be an event, it has to be an achievement that you can feel proud of yourself for. So there's all sorts of things you can get involved with. There's loads of stuff in the communities. And I would say to any woman who thinks, no, you know, oh, well, you know, it's gone past the point of being able to do anything. I've got no motivation. I've got no time. You have got time. Everyone has got 15 minutes. Everyone has got 15 minutes. In fact, everyone's got 2 minutes. I do 2-minute workouts on my YouTube channel. And you're not telling me that you haven't got time to find 2 minutes to get off the settee and get motivated. And trust me, you will feel amazing for doing it. You'll feel proud of yourself and you'll want to do more. So that's my journey. If you've never done fitness, this can also be your journey too. I'm not saying you have to do a half marathon or anything mad like that. You can have a small goal to work towards. And them small goals, tiny steps, make all the difference when it comes to exercise. It really does. And it really helps to focus your mindset and change your mindset. So if you want to know more, I'm going to be doing more videos like this. This is my first one I've done. So hopefully they'll improve over time. But please subscribe to my channel. And I do offer like free workouts on here, and it'd be great to have you on board my channel. So thank you for listening, and please subscribe. Bye.